This week on LandLeader Television. We are the leaders of the land. Land is what we live on. It can be explored, built upon, and cultivated. Land holds our wildlife, crops and livestock, and the homes in which we live. It provides a resource for your family. It's what our forefathers settled and our brave fight to protect. It asks that you respect it, keep it free, and put back what you have taken. At times, it's purchased, sold, and traded, and it's passed on from generation to generation. So it's our duty as land brokers to be champions of conservation, habitat management, and ownership. We possess a deep love for our land and respect for all it provides. We are LandLeader. This segment is brought to you by Sartain's Heritage Properties. In addition to their tremendous success in land sales, Sartain's Heritage Properties is incredibly versed in land development and habitat restoration. This vital part of their business allows them to work hand in hand with property owners across the region to elevate the land to its maximum potential for waterfowl, whitetail, and upland species found in the region. Today we meet up with Jacob Sartain, who will discuss the development and subsequent sale of the Dorado plantation.
My name is Jacob Sartain. I'm the co-owner of Sartain's Heritage Properties, which is a family-owned business. We've been in business for a little over 60 years. Our business specializes in recreational lands, agriculture, and timber investment properties. We have a development division of our business that takes properties and develops them to really bring out the best in them for recreational use. I guess I didn't really realize how many friends I would make because these clients of ours become friends and near family. That's been one of the most amazing parts of my business and a benefit that I never saw coming. Mr. Charles, Jacob. Good to see you, sir.
Good seeing you. Charles Huff, been in Yazoo County all my life. John Phillips and I bought El Dorado, and John knew you and said you were the best in the business about developing hunting land. That's how you and I got to know each other. Been a very fruitful relationship. 2000 was the first year I farmed. Been farming since. This will be my 45th crop this year. All 45 years, it's been my goal just to farm one more year. Maybe I'll do it for 46. I guess the history of it, it's one of the oldest plantations in Yazoo County. And I don't know how old. I'd say it dates from right after the Civil War. Well, heretofore, I thought it was just an ugly piece of buckshot land, half woods and half WRP. And it was just there. And then after you worked on it, and I rode through there, you turned it into a beautiful piece of property, even to a non-hunter. I really didn't know how good the property was until you came in and developed it. Think very highly of Mike. Mike, after Jacob worked his magic, I do think we essentially gave y'all the property.
This portion of the show was brought to you by participating farm credit locations.
It's about people far and wide, from coast to coast. The farmers, the ranchers, their cattle and crops, weekends in the woods, blueberries, peaches, a fishing pole, and your grandpa's rifle. Best friends, the love of your life, our children. It's about making this real. We've been financing your life for more than a century. We're Farm Credit. We're here to help you grow.
Looking to sell your ranch or farm? Visit LandLeader.com to learn about our exclusive network of the best farm and ranch brokers across the country. LandLeader member brokers are the leaders in their areas, representing the finest properties and providing their clients with the most property marketing in the nation. From ranches and farms to sporting properties and vacant land, we're the largest land marketing company in America. Give us a call or visit LandLeader.com today. LandLeader Television is brought to you by LandLeader, exclusive properties worldwide. Gunworks, 1,400 yards right out of the box. Cinch jeans and shirts, lead, don't follow. Banded, just go. And by participating farm credit locations. This segment is brought to you by Sartain's Heritage Properties.
My name's Michael Miles. I'm from the Hattiesburg, Mississippi area. There was a piece of property came up for sale in Louise, Mississippi. Jacob was a brokerage firm on it, and that's how I get to know him. Closed that deal, and Jacob started helping us put it into the CRP program. Accomplished all that, had a very good experience with him, did a great job for us. We started seeing better deer, had really good duck hunting. We grew up wood duck hunting mostly, and then, of course, I transitioned up here to the bigger ducks. The first experience I had up here was with Jacob, and we've just been with him ever since. You know, they have the total package. They can sell, they can buy, they can put you in contact with who you need to be put in contact with. When this place came up, it was very unique. You showed it to me. 2 or 3 months later, we went back and looked at it again, and then I saw the potential. Dorado's right across the street from me, and it's a fabulous deer place. It's got a good population of deer, big deer. My brother got him a place to stay up here that came with the plantation, the home. So it just really worked out good for us. I'm sure we're going to be happy here.
Putting these conservation lands back on the landscape here is essentially bringing waterfowl back to the Mississippi Delta and bringing them back in huge numbers. The development of the El Dorado property was really kind of a feather in the hat for me. It's such a unique place, and I just feel so honored to have been hired for that job. The design led to the actual physical work. We moved in out there in about June of 2017. Started moving dirt, started building roads, taking our mulching machines through there and mulching the roads, building levees through the woods, implementing upland food plots, irrigation wells, and all the stuff that has to go into making a well-designed and well-developed property. As soon as we got the project completed, I called a client of mine that I knew would be interested in that property. We all ride the property together, freaking deer running everywhere, ducks flying all over the place. As soon as we got back to the truck, we'll take it.
This portion of the show was brought to you by Cinch jeans and shirts, lead, don't follow, and by Gunworks, 1,400 yards right out of the box.
The Climber, a new ultralight design by Gunworks. The Climber is the pinnacle of lightweight, long-range design. Design yours at gunworks.com.
Now's a great time to buy your next farm, ranch, or recreational property. The premier broker members of LandLeader represent the finest properties available on the market today, from working cattle ranches to income-producing farm ground, equestrian facilities and agricultural land to sporting properties and land rich with mineral rights. Let the LandLeader network help you find your next piece of land. Tour thousands of properties for sale online at LandLeader.com.
Welcome to the Middle Fork Ranch. Over 3,000 acres of high mountain meadows, meandering river bottoms, and amazing vistas of Colorado's Rocky Mountains. This historic ranch is now for sale and includes 7 miles of world-class gold medal fishing on the South Platte River, cattle grazing ranch land, diverse hunting for big game, and convenient location just 2 hours from Denver near the town of Fairplay. Contact Dax Hayden today or learn more at HaydenOutdoors.com.
This segment is brought to you by Hayden Outdoors.
Oh, this is a phenomenal opportunity to make a home. There's enough work here to keep a family and some help pretty busy. It's a great community. The neighbors and the people around here have been very supportive, very helpful. And we step out and we help our neighbors, and they have responded very well. If you are a grazer, oh, the grass and the opportunities here are tremendous. The farm ground allows the opportunity to winter your cows at a bargain. If you're a farmer that has a few cows, same thing. You have an opportunity to farm some fabulous ground and a nice place to put your cows. My name is Bruce Brenneman. We are southwest of Maywood, Nebraska, at fundamentally the center portion of the ranch. What was and will be the functional headquarters here, centrally located so we can bring cattle in from either direction and work them, take care of them, then get them back out to graze. It's really a challenge and a joy to see something like this come together. This ranch was put together as one unit in the 80s by a local investor. It was never operated as one ranch. It was rented out, and we were actually the first people to operate this property as one operation. You know, this kind of scale provides a lot of opportunity. Right now in this area, with the irrigated and the dryland farm ground, we're predominantly corn, soybeans, milo, wheat, sunflowers raised in this area. We have oats growing right now, and we utilize some of the dryland farm ground for cover crops that we graze. The Hays County line is just west of us, and when you cross the Hays County line, you get into a sand structure. This is the transition between the sand and the hard ground. Farther east we go, the harder the soil is. Provides this ranch with a phenomenal diversity. We have the traditional sand grasses that grow. There's an incredible species diversity in our range environments. The sand content of the soil lets us get into the farm ground faster. It dries out a little quicker on top, but the silt loam that's present provides great medium for growing plants.
The Cattle Creek Ranch is currently being offered as 4 separate parcels or as a single property. The current home of the owner lies 17 miles away from the other 3 main parcels and sits on an additional 525 acres of land.
There's an irrigated farm north of Curtis, which is currently where I live. Holdridge silt loam soil, pivot irrigated ground. You can stand in one spot and see all the farm ground. It's very level, very well drained. It is a highly productive farm that produces consistently 240 bushel corn on the irrigated ground. Phenomenal water. It's a deep, big well that runs 3,600 gallons a minute. So it is a fabulous, fabulous piece of irrigated ground, terribly productive. There's 270 irrigated acres there with 200 acres of dryland farm ground and a 50-acre pasture that we calve in. As we move west, the first block of grass that we bought 10 years ago, we've developed it. We've got cross fence, a lot of water development. We're well into a rotational grazing program and a no-till farming practice. It is all dryland farm ground. We've taken our stocking rate on that place from requiring 10 to 12 acres per the animal unit for the grazing season down to 6 to 8. Honestly, some of the cheapest ground we ever bought. It's been a real satisfying thing to see that management yield its result. And that's a real interesting facet of this part of Nebraska, is that this ground responds well to management. There's a single section that sits by itself. It's a mile south of that 1,700 acres. It's a true section. The previous owners bought that, and the opportunity to put it together just has never presented itself. And it's a nice section of grass. We like to put our first calf heifers, the replacement cattle, down there, keep them isolated because of the way that lays, the topography, and the way it's watered. But it's never been cross-fenced. The cattle utilize it very well. It's very well balanced. This property that we're standing on right now, it's the farthest west. It is the largest tract. It is a fabulous standalone unit if someone was looking for a 500 cow ranch by itself. There's 300 acres of irrigated ground here at the center, right here where we're standing on. It's irrigated by 2 T&L pivot systems that share a common well. Right now we're raising feed on one pivot and commodity crops on the other. There's, I believe, 1,500 acres, give or take, of dryland farm ground here, scattered north to south. We rent that out on a cash rent, and then we graze the afterfeeds. Makes wintering the cattle really convenient. It's a tremendous asset in this environment. This portion of the ranch will sustain 500 cow-calf pairs for the year. In combination, the whole thing, we conservatively stock it at 700 cow-calf pairs. This particular place that we're on, we have been working very diligently about expanding the water. We are rotational grazers, so the first thing that we do when we buy a new property is put the water in to support that kind of grazing capacity. Typically, we'll split our bunches up into 250 cow units or groups, and then design the pastures and the water system to support 3 weeks of grazing with that size of cow herd. Just a gift that someone else had the opportunity to put it together, and we had the opportunity to take it over and manage it as one operation.
This portion of the show was brought to you by LandLeader, exclusive properties worldwide. Are you experienced in farming, ranching, or recreational properties? Do you have a passion for the outdoors? Are you seeking a profession in real estate and land sales? If so, LandLeader is growing our team of real estate brokers and agent members across the country. We offer a strong network, excellent property marketing support, real estate training, and national affiliation of land brokerages that is second to none. For more information on becoming a member of LandLeader, visit us at landleader.com.
Here at Swarovski Optic, a lot of time is spent on perfecting a few great things until every idea we touch enhances every moment in the field. For a quarter century, the Swarovski Optic SLC has been making hunters' dreams become reality. Feel the wilderness every time you step outside.
Now it's time for the Farm Credit Tip of the Week.
Buying land? Make sure you consider the availability of water. I'm Jesse Dumas with Farm Credit of Northwest Florida. Every day, my goal is to help land buyers finance property to live on, play on, or farm. However, what's important to one landowner may not be important to another. Is the topography suitable for your use? Is there sufficient cash flow from timber to meet your objectives? These days, one essential feature to consider is water. In some parts of the country, either due to drought or well drilling moratoriums, the quality and availability of a water supply is extremely important when determining the value of a piece of property. Some people even say that water is the new oil. So before you agree to purchase property or decide how much you want to borrow, make sure you're in the know on one of life's and land's essential elements, water. Again, I'm Jesse Dumas with Farm Credit of Northwest Florida with your tip of the week.
This segment is brought to you by Hayden Outdoors.
I believe there are 13 farmsteads scattered on this ranch. So when they homesteaded this, there were 13 families that made a living out here. And over time, it's been brought together. Of course, we're able to manage a much larger area now with modern machinery, but the productivity is still there. Leo had a print ad in the High Plains Journal. I actually called him on the phone, and he called me back. He was very excited about coming out and seeing the property and what we had to offer here. And because of the reach that Hayden Outdoors has, if you look at their brochures, they've got small farms and enormous show ranches for sale. So they appeal to a very broad base of clients and customers.
Name is John Leo Hayden. He called me off an ad I had in the High Plains Journal, and we just talked, and I told him I'd love to come look at it and tell him what I thought it would bring. The large ranch market right now is very good. A lot of good market out there. Cattle market's pretty good right now, and we just talked about what his goals were and what we thought we could do for him. I was born and raised to a cattle trader and a horse racer, so I learned the cattle and ranching business from the ground up. This is probably the most productive ranch of any of the ranches in that 4 and 5 state area. It is the type of a ranch that is a cattle ranch. It's got good grass, lots of protection for the cattle. It's a unique property and it has a lot of hunting potential. This is a good location up here. They get good rainfall. They raise good dryland crops and good irrigated crops. They get enough rain to double crop crops. And then if you utilize the waste feed from the crops, it increases your cow herd numbers. Everyone always asks you, how many cows will it run? My dad was a cattle trader, and he said, well, how big are the cows? The way he's running it now, it's a 700 cow ranch.
I'm a grazer. A friend of mine says I'm a grass farmer. The principle behind the rotational grazing is that we bring cattle into an area and we don't give them a great deal of choice about what they can eat. There's what's in front of you and they will go consume that grass and then you leave. You have to give the pasture rest so that grass can grow. In the fall, it sends nutrients into the root system. It allows the cattle to harvest all the available forage. And they're just like people. They'd really rather eat ice cream than broccoli, but broccoli's good for them. So we tell them they don't have a choice, they gotta eat their broccoli and the ice cream. Then when we move, the stronger, healthier native range plants grow and they will naturally take over and push the less desirable grasses out.
All the mineral rights are owned by the owner and all the water rights, and they pass to the buyer. And I read a deal the other day on the Wall Street Journal that said the truly rich people, the billionaires, are not buying stocks, they're buying land. We live in the greatest country in the world with the best farmers in the world and ranchers. So nothing but up as far as I can see.
I'm out here every day. I love the outdoors, I love the wildlife. Wildlife from bobwhite quail, pheasants, turkeys, mule deer, white-tailed deer. I have a friend that is a furrier. He loves to trap and shoot bobcat, mountain lion, and raccoons. And we have elk evidence on the place. But when you're that familiar with them, it kind of takes the sport out of the hunting. I have a lot of family members that really enjoy it. Our irrigation water comes out of the Oglala Aquifer. It is phenomenal water. As the water goes in, the cross fences go up. Some of the wells are original wells. They've been in service for over 100 years, and we don't ask a lot out of those wells. As we develop the water, if we have a well that's been drilled in the last 15 years, then we'll develop that site up, increase the gallonage with a larger submersible well, put in pipeline, water storage. Last year we put in 3 bottomless tanks and 4 of the 11-foot tire tanks on pipelines to increase the water storage and water availability in the pastures. It's a blank slate. We are in the process of rolling up a lot of old junk fence and putting in new to start bringing those loose ends together and making the vision out here about what this can do as a economic unit.
There's 12 or 13 old homesteads on this west two parts. And that's another thing that my dad told me, and I'm sorry, but I quote him a lot. If you buy a place, buy one that somebody made some money on. Obviously, people had a good living out here from the structures and stuff that were here. They indicate that the land will make money. And so that's the most unique thing I think about the place.
For more information on how to feature your property on LandLeader TV, please visit landleader.com. Next week on LandLeader Television.